Hydromorph Contin is manufactured by Purdue Pharma. Now, you may have heard of Purdue Pharma recently because there was a Netflix docudrama that ran a while ago and which featured OxyContin, which is a very highly addictive drug, and it was being pushed by Purdue Pharma. And Hydromorphone Contin, or Hydromorph Contin, is a predecessor of OxyContin. And Hydromorph Contin is a very strong drug with a ton of side effects. I've had experience with both these drugs, so today I'm going to explain to you about them. Hi, I'm Denise, and welcome to Travels in My Chair. Today's going to be about drugs, and I hope you'll stick with me through this. And if you have a chronic health condition, especially cancer, and you're having to take pain medication, then you might want to listen up to some of the information I'm going to pass on to you in this video. Okay. Hydromorph Contin works with the brain to control pain. It's a time-controlled release, so it's a 12-hour pill, and normally you would take it twice a day and would be taking it at the same time. It takes about 30 minutes before it kicks in. Like any other pain medication, it has a lot of side effects, and I'll get into some of them, good and bad. But it's for long-term chronic pain, and there's different strengths of the drug. I'm on the mildest form. The difference between Hydromorph Contin and hydromorphone is a secondary defense drug, or as my doctor calls it, a breakthrough drug. And hydromorphone has about a 2 to 3 hour lifespan. So you take the pill, you're in pain, it'll last for 2 or 3 hours. And that was what the problem that I was having, is because when I had my world famous bum problem with this torn skin, I was popping them and they were not giving me enough pain relief, because after 2 or 3 hours I'd wake up and I'd be in agony, and I'd have to take another one, go back to sleep for 2 hours, wake up, take another one. I was like basically a basket case for the whole day. And on the other hand, when I broke my ankle way back in 2010, I was given OxyContin. And what happened with OxyContin is immediately, and I mean within a half an hour of taking that drug, and I still don't know what strength of drug I was on, to be honest, I broke out in a sweat, I got dizzy, I got dry mouth, I got heart palpitations, I got diarrhea, and I threw up. I managed to stay on that pill for 3 days, and after that I phoned my doctor and I begged him. I said, "You've got to get me off this pill, it's going to kill me." So Hydromorph Contin was a predecessor of OxyContin. They're opioids. They are addictive. It is important that if you are taking Hydromorph Contin, you keep in close contact with your doctor and your pharmacist. And if they're doing their job properly, they will keep in close contact with you, because you do not want to get addicted. So let me just read some of the side effects. There are many. Fever, shivers, sweating, dizziness, constipation, diarrhea. The drug I'm on is 3 milligrams, which is the mildest form of the drug. When I was prescribed the drug, it was by a resident who realized that the hydromorphone wasn't allowing me to sleep, and I was in so much pain that I just couldn't handle it. So she suggested that I keep the hydromorphone when I needed a quick, get this under control now, whereas I use the Hydromorph Contin for a long-term effect. And I was prescribed it twice a day. So I would take it at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'd take it at 9 o'clock at night. The problem with this drug, and it does have, and this, what I told you about the side effects, that was only a few, there's so many more, is if I say took it at, I guess I lie, I probably took it at 10 o'clock in the morning. If I took it at 10 o'clock in the morning, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is generally when our body's at its lowest anyway, all kinds of weird things would start happening to me. I would get dizzy, I would get dry mouth, I would usually end up falling asleep into a very deep sleep, and that worried me. And it worried me because I didn't have enough stability in my body to get up off my recliner and into my wheelchair to go to the bathroom. And I decided that I did not see enough benefit from that drug to stay on it during the day. So I talked to my doctor and I said, I'm going to only start taking it at dinner time. I'm going to take 1 pill a day and I'm going to take it about 6 or 7 o'clock. And that should carry me right through till 6 or 7 o'clock the next day. And if during the night I wake up and I have pain, then I will take an ordinary hydromorphone. Oh, he says, okay, we need to talk about this. How many hydromorphone? And I said, how about give me a couple of weeks and I'll get back to you and we'll talk about it. 7 o'clock at night, I take the Hydromorph Contin. Then when I go to bed at night, if I wake up about 1:30 or 2 in the morning, I'll take an ordinary hydromorphone. Sometimes if I'm having a really bad night with my leg really being painful, I'll end up taking a second hydromorphone. So when I talked to my doctor, I was able to give him that information. So he was fine with me cutting the Hydromorph Contin down to 1 instead of the 2 recommended, and to 2 to 3 hydromorphone a day, depending on the level of my pain. And again, I'm not a doctor and I'm in no way medically trained, but when you're taking a drug that's an opioid that's so addictive, you really owe it to yourself to keep in very close contact with your pharmacist and your doctor, and never change the prescription unless you confer with them first, because of the interaction with other drugs and the things that it can do to you. Like, one of the things that it can do to you is cause severe constipation. In fact, my palliative care doctor, my oncologist, and my family doctor all recommended, because I'm in a wheelchair all the time and I'm not mobile, that I start taking laxative. And especially when I'm on hydromorphone and hydromorph contin, they are can cause diarrhea and constipation. If you get abdominal cramping and constipation, that's a sign that you're having a bowel blockage, and that can have devastating results. They started me off on Senosides, which is laxative. They had me on 4 a day. Then they had me on Laxaday, which is what they give people in nursing homes. They told me that in no way was I to allow my body to go longer than 2 days without having a bowel movement, because it could be very, very dangerous. Now, I didn't realize at the time what they were actually talking about until I started doing my research on Hydromorph Contin, and then I realized that, whoa, this could be scary stuff. I know someone who died from a bowel blockage. This is not something to be taken lightly. So when I say keep in close contact with your doctor, yes, you must, because, well, the alternative is you could die. There you go. My body had to get to adjust it to the pill. Now, I wasn't taking 2 hydromorph contin a day, I was taking 1. And I had cut back on my hydromorphone to usually 1 a night. The pain, my bum pain had gone away, and now I was just dealing with the leg pain, which is pretty constant. So I cut my laxative down to 2 a day. I only take Laxaday if I'm creeping up to 4 days without a bowel movement. And I eat 4 prunes a day, and that has been keeping me pretty normal. And I wasn't drinking enough water, so now I'm drinking more water. You have to be responsible, for your own self. It's important when you're taking Hydromorph Contin to never split the pill or chew the pill. Have to break the pill up. It's important that you don't chew the granules, and I don't know why. This is what Purdue Pharma's saying in their 7-page long information sheet. Hydromorph Contin is chemically similar to morphine, but it has minor structural differences. And it has a significant effect on its metabolism. So if you are on Hydromorph Contin and you start having breathing problems, weird problems, vision problems, things like that, you must immediately contact your doctor or get your little ass to the hospital. Serious stuff, okay? I mean, Hydromorph Contin works on specific nerve cells in your brain and your spinal cord to stop the pain. And like I say, it's addictive, and you don't want to misuse the drug. Because, you know, if you're on it, at some point, if you're not dying, you might want to come off it. And you've got to come off it slowly, and you've got to come off it with instructions from your doctor. You don't just go to cold turkey. It's too hard on your system. And I tell you, if you want your eyes open, watch that Netflix special called Painkiller with OxyContin and what they were doing with that drug and what it can do to you. You don't want to fall into that drug trap. And it's really, really easy. Well, I'm not feeling really good and I've taken this pill, but oh, it's only 8 hours, I'm going to take another one. It can affect your thyroid. You can't take it if you have a brain tumor or if you have kidney or liver problems. There's so much side effects that you almost think to yourself, well, what the hell am I even taking this thing for? It's got more side effects than it is helpful. So I'll tell you what it's actually done for me. Before that, there's a disorder called adrenal gland deficiency, adrenal insufficiency, which could cause nausea, vomiting, dizziness, weakness, and all this can happen when you're on the drug for over a long term. As I said earlier, I was on the drug, taking it twice a day, and I didn't like what it was doing to me in the afternoon, and so talked to my doctor, and I take it now once a night. Then I was away, and I ran out of the pill. I didn't have the pill for, I guess, a week, and I didn't notice that was any different. So I thought to myself, why heck am I even taking this thing? I'm not even going to take it anymore, to heck with it. Then I got home, and my hip and my leg, which is where I'm having all the pain mostly with the cancer and MS too, was really bothering me, and it was bothering me, and if I don't get any sleep, I'm in a big mess the next day. And I realized that whereas the Hydromorph Contin wasn't a feel-good pill, it was actually slowly allowing me to stay asleep longer and keep that pain at bay. It didn't completely take the pain away, but it kept it manageable. So when I talked to my doctor, that's what I explained to him. I'll stay on it once a day. I don't want to go on it twice a day because I try not to take any pain meds at all during the day. It's mostly when I go to bed when I feel it the worst. Or, you know, at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, I start getting a bit achy because I'm sitting all the time, right? Well, the Hydromorph Contin makes that manageable so that when I go to bed, I can actually go to sleep. So for me, the Hydromorph Contin one a day is working. I also keep hydromorphone beside my bed. If I wake up in the middle of the night because the dog's laying on my legs and I can't move and I'm in pain, I will take a hydromorphone. I don't want to be addicted to any of these drugs. But at this stage of my life, with the cancer in my bone and knowing that eventually the pain is going to get worse, I know that I have to manage the pain in order to have a quality of life that is sustainable for me and my family. I mean, we've been camping, I can go out, I'm leading a pretty good life. I'm not in agony. Now there could be a time when that pain intensifies and I'm going to have to talk to my doctor and we're going to have to readjust. So be it if that happens. But right now, all I wanted to share with you my story about Hydromorph Contin. And if you're taking Hydromorph Contin, just, like I said, be aware. Write down if you have any weird things going on, write it down. Because you might not realize, like for me, Hydromorph Contin. In the middle of the night I wake up and I'm covered in sweat and I'm like, what the hell? I'm not a sweater. I've never sweat in my life. Well, it's a drug. So thanks for joining me. I hope this wasn't too much of a downer. I know pain meds of any kind are difficult to talk about and difficult to actually have to go on. But at this stage of my life, I'm 72, I have chronic diseases, and I want to enjoy my life to the best of my ability. And if that means I have to take pain medication to do so, I will. But I also don't want to overdo it. There's that balance, right? I always talk about the balance. You want to be happy, you don't want to be sad. You want to be well, you don't want to be sick. You want to take care of yourself, eat properly, drink lots of fluids. Now I've got to deal with a new thing. I don't know if you can tell that I'm all bruised in here. I went to do a CT scan last week with contrasting dye. They tried my right arm to put the dye in, couldn't get a vein. Tried the left arm, couldn't get a vein. And I got to tell you, up until recently, you could see every vein in my body, pretty much. I'm so light-skinned. Anyway, they had to call a nurse in from the emergency department, and she poked me in here, and this whole hand is bruised, and it hurts like heck. I asked the nurse, so what's causing it? She says, you're dehydrated. You must drink a lot of water 2 days before you're doing any blood work. And also, if I go to give a bone infusion, they wrap my arm in hot heating pad before they put the stuff in. So there's another thing I never thought I'd have to worry about. Another thing that, yet again, I have to worry about. Sometimes it's just like so frustrating, isn't it? See you again in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for your comments. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. I'll answer them. I'm an open book. And thank you so much. Bye for now.